Good morning and welcome to News Superfast. I'm Nolan Pinto. Now, gunmen disguised as police guards stormed an airport terminal used for VIPs and cargo in Karachi on Sunday night, killing at least 9 people as explosions echoed into the night. Heavy gunfire and at least 2 large explosions could be heard coming from the terminal at Jinnah International Airport as authorities scrambled to secure the area. In fact, 7 militants have also been killed in the assault as gunfire continues, and 2 huge blasts rocked the Jinnah International Airport amid fears of a prolonged siege similar to other brazen attacks on key installations in recent years. Now, a senior intelligence official at the scene who requested anonymity has stated, and to quote him, "One of them blew up when he was shot, indicating he was wearing a suicide vest," unquote. The attackers appeared to have entered from at least 2 sides of the airport, including the Hajj terminal and the engineering section close to an old terminal no longer used for passengers. The precise number of attackers was unclear, but multiple officials had earlier placed the figure at around half a dozen, though it is now believed to be higher. The attackers were armed with machine guns and grenades. The Army, the Airport Security Force, police and paramilitary forces have all been deployed at the scene, where gunfire was intermittent. Now, a paramilitary ranger engaged in the operation stated that militants who had entered through the engineering section of Pakistan International Airlines gunned down security first. In fact, the hospital authorities said out of the dead, 7 were from the Airport Security Force personnel, 1 was an employee of the Civil Aviation Authority, and another was from the state-run Pakistan International Airlines. Now, a major fire rose from the airport with a silhouette of jet seen. Now, the attack happened at a terminal not used for commercial flights but for special VIP flights and for cargo. Army commandos confined the attackers to a maintenance area and that they hadn't been able to get onto the tarmac. We're also getting information that one of the militants tried to capture a vehicle used by the Civil Aviation Authority, and when a guard shot at him, the explosives strapped to his body went off. Now, officials have stated that another attacker also blew up after being shot at by security forces. The country's military said in a statement that all the passengers had been evacuated and that 3 gunmen had been killed. At least 2 domestic flights have been diverted and all flight operations had been suspended at the airport. A spokesman for the Civil Aviation Authority said the airport would be closed until at least Monday night. Now, Karachi is Pakistan's largest city and has been the site of frequent militant attacks in the past. It is the country's economic heart, and any militant activity targeting the airport would strike a heavy blow at foreign investment in the country. Now, so far, there has been no claim of responsibility for Sunday night's incident, but similar raids in the past have been claimed by Taliban militants who rose up against the Pakistani state in 2007 in an insurgency that has claimed thousands of lives. Taliban gunmen attacked the Mehran naval base way back in 2011, which is just 3 kilometers from the airport, destroying 2 US-made Orion aircraft and killing 10 personnel in a 17-hour-long siege. Taliban and other militants in uniform carried out a similar raid at Pakistan's military headquarters in the garrison city of Rawalpindi in 2009, leaving 23 dead, including 11 troops and 3 hostages. Now, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's government began negotiations with the umbrella militant group TTP, Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, in February. The ceasefire beginning March 1 but breaking down a month later. Now, the TTP emerged in response to a raid on a radical mosque in Islamabad, but Islamist violence in the country began to surge in 2004 following the army's deployment in the volatile tribal areas. In fact, heavily armed militants attacked Pakistan's busiest airport in the southern city of Karachi on Sunday night, killing at least 10 people as flights were suspended and the army was called in. This is what officials have said. 7 militants have also been killed in the assault as gunfire continues and 2 huge blasts rocked the Jinnah International Airport amid fears of a prolonged siege similar to other brazen attacks on key installations in recent years. Senior intelligence officials at the scene have stated that one of them, that is one of the militants, blew up when he was shot, indicating he was wearing a suicide vest. The attackers appeared to have entered from at least 2 sides of the airport, including the Hajj terminal and the engineering section close to an old terminal no longer used for passengers. The precise number of attackers was unclear, but multiple officials had earlier placed the figure at around half a dozen, though it is now believed to be higher. The attackers were armed with machine guns and grenades. The army, the airport security force, police and paramilitary forces have all been deployed at the scene, where gunfire is intermittent. In fact, latest visuals are coming in from ARY News in Pakistan. You can see after the operations that took place last night, the entire airport is covered with a thick smoke all around it. One of the reasons being given is that most of the militants carried suicide vests, and when they were hit, they just blew up. Now, apart from that, broken glass and used gun magazines littered the engineering section where the first exchange of fire had taken place as smoke from grenade attacks began to die down. In fact, you can clearly see visuals coming in from inside Jinnah International Airport in Karachi with passengers. Basically, all operations have been suspended. The army has secured the area. They're told that combing operations are still going on in order to make sure that the entire airport is safe to resume operations. In fact, the director of the city's main Jinnah hospital, Dr. Simi Jamali, stated that 6 dead bodies had been brought in and the hospital had declared an emergency. Furthermore, 14 others have been seriously wounded. Our spokesman for PIA added that 2 domestic flights bound for Karachi had been diverted to nearby airports. As of now, all operations have been suspended, and you can see passengers sitting inside the airport anxiously discussing with each other as to what could be happening outside, while the army, the paramilitary forces and other security personnel go about their combing operations. Well, there has so far been no claim of responsibility for Sunday night's incident, but similar raids in the past have been claimed by Taliban militants who rose up against the Pakistani state in 2007 in an insurgency that has claimed thousands of lives. Taliban gunmen attacked the Mehran naval base in 2011, which is just 3 kilometers from the airport, destroying 2 US-made Orion aircraft and killing 10 personnel in a 17-hour siege. What do you see over there? Basically, passengers waiting inside the terminal because all operations, airport operations, have been suspended. As of now, we're told that the army and paramilitary forces are on the combing operation. However, sources tell us that intermittent gunfire is still being heard. In fact, as of now, we're getting information that at least 23 people, including all the 10 terrorists who had attacked Pakistan's Karachi airport on the intervening night of June 8 and 9, have been killed. Now, this is according to the Pakistan Army. The terrorists had attacked Karachi's Jinnah International Airport on Sunday night. A Pakistan Army spokesman said the entire airport had been cleared and all the 10 terrorists had been killed. Now, this is what Pakistan news channels are reporting. According to the ISPR, or the Inter-Services Public Relations Director General, Major General Asim Salim Bajwa, a total of 23 people were killed in the attack, including security personnel. Public Relations officer stated that the terrorists were confined to 2 areas and eliminated by the security forces. The heavily armed terrorists, dressed in airport security personnel uniforms, entered the Fokker building at the old airport terminal late Sunday night. Heavy contingents of Pakistan Army and police had to be called in to neutralize the attackers. They surrounded the Fokker building where the attackers were holed up, and a fierce gun battle followed. Plumes of smoke and fire could be seen inside the old airport, and a few loud explosions were also heard near the workshop and hangar area. In fact, at 3:24 a.m., 9 people, including 7 personnel from the airport security force, killed in the attack. At 3:25, 4 terrorists killed in the attack. At 3:50, firing resumed once more after another blast was reported. At 4:14, militants tried to hijack a plane but were unsuccessful. Now, officials had to cancel the flight operations from the airport following the attack. A spokesman for the Pakistan International Airlines said that passengers and visitors at the Jinnah International Airport, which is close to the old terminal building, had been shifted to safe and secure locations soon after the attack started.